6 Gaslighting Tactics Manipulators Use on You. What if the most dangerous liar in your life is not the one who screams, but the one who calmly makes you doubt your own memory? Gaslighting does not begin with obvious abuse. It begins with confusion. And once confusion enters your mind, control becomes easy. Most people think manipulation looks aggressive. It doesn't. Sometimes it sounds polite. Sometimes it sounds caring. Sometimes it even sounds like love. That is why gaslighting is so dangerous. You do not notice the trap when it first closes. And that is exactly how they want it. Gaslighters do not just lie to you. They slowly train you to stop trusting yourself. Your eyes see one thing, your gut feels another, but after enough manipulation, you begin asking them what is real. Instead of trusting what you already know, that is the beginning of mental surrender. And here is the terrifying part. Smart people fall for it too. Kind people, loyal people, deep thinkers. Because gaslighting does not attack intelligence first. It attacks certainty. It chips away at your confidence until even the truth feels unstable. And once that happens, the manipulator owns the emotional room. The first gaslighting tactic is simple. Denying what clearly happened. You heard the insult. You saw the betrayal. You remember the tone, but they look you in the eyes and say, "That never happened." Not loudly, calmly, like your memory is the problem. And suddenly, you hesitate. That calm denial is not accidental. It is strategic. If they shout, you resist. But if they stay composed while you become emotional, you start looking unstable, even to yourself. That is how they reverse the roles. They become reasonable. You become too sensitive. And that switch is incredibly dangerous. Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking, "Wait, why am I apologizing when they hurt me?" If yes, pay attention, because the second tactic is even darker. It is not just about denying reality. It is about making you feel guilty for noticing it in the first place. The second tactic is turning your reaction into the problem. They hurt you. You confront them, and instead of answering the issue, they attack your tone. Why are you acting like this? Why are you making drama? Suddenly, the truth disappears, and your emotion becomes the target. This is why so many victims stay trapped. They become obsessed with explaining themselves. They defend their tone. They soften their words. They try to look reasonable. Meanwhile, the real issue dies in the background, and the manipulator quietly wins by changing the battlefield. Comment below. Have you ever apologized in a situation where deep down you knew you were the one being hurt? Because once you notice that pattern, you will never unsee it. And the third tactic. This one quietly destroys your confidence over time without you realizing it. The third tactic is rewriting your intentions. You ask a simple question. They say you are attacking them. You express pain. They say you are trying to control them. You set a boundary. They say you are being cruel. Your actions stay the same, but your meaning gets twisted. This tactic is brutal because it attacks identity, not just what you said, but who you are. After enough of this, you stop speaking freely. You rehearse every sentence. You overthink every boundary. You become scared of being misunderstood, and that fear becomes their leash. If you feel like you are constantly explaining your heart to someone who keeps misreading it, stop. That is not normal conflict. That is emotional distortion. And now we move into the fourth tactic, the one that makes victims feel isolated, unstable, and completely dependent on outside validation. The fourth tactic is using other people as proof against you. They say, "Everyone thinks you overreact. Even my family noticed your behavior. You're the only one who sees it this way. Maybe those people were never even involved." But suddenly, you feel outnumbered. This tactic works because humans fear social rejection. We can survive being insulted, but being made to feel like the whole room is against us, that hits deeper. That creates panic. And when panic enters, logic leaves. That is why manipulators love false consensus. It crushes resistance fast. The fifth tactic is one of the most confusing. Selective kindness after emotional damage. They wound you. They dismiss you. They twist reality. Then, suddenly, they become sweet, gentle, caring. Maybe they bring comfort. Maybe they speak softly. And your brain starts questioning everything all over again. This is not healing. This is conditioning. Pain, then relief, confusion, then comfort. Your nervous system becomes addicted to the moment they turn good again. And that cycle is powerful because you stop chasing truth and start chasing the next moment of emotional peace. Read that again in your life. If someone repeatedly hurts you, then uses temporary warmth to keep you attached, that is not love. That is control wearing a beautiful mask. And most people miss it because they are starving for peace, not looking for patterns. Now, here is the sixth tactic. And this one is lethal because it sounds so small, so casual, so easy to ignore. But over time, it can completely break a person's inner compass. This is the tactic that makes you question your instincts before you even speak. The sixth tactic is constant, subtle contradiction. One day, they praise you. The next day, they mock the same trait. One moment, you are strong. The next, you are too intense. One week, you are special. The next, too much. The rules keep changing. And that is the point. When the emotional rules keep moving, your mind becomes unstable. You stop acting naturally. You start scanning for danger. You become hyper-aware, hyper-careful, hyper-anxious, and the manipulator loves that version of you. Because a confused person is easier to control than a confident one. So, what do all six tactics have in common? They all attack the same thing, your trust in your own perception. That is the real target. Not the argument, not the mistake, not the misunderstanding, your perception. Because once you stop trusting your own mind, you become easy to lead. This is why gaslighting is not just bad communication. It is not normal relationship drama. It is not a difficult personality. It is psychological warfare at close range. Quiet, repetitive, personal. And if you do not name it early, it can rewrite how you see yourself. And this is where most people make the biggest mistake. They keep trying to prove the truth to someone committed to distorting it. That almost never works. You cannot logic your way out of a trap designed around emotional confusion. First, you must recognize the pattern. Then you do something powerful. You stop over-explaining. You stop begging to be understood. You stop defending obvious reality. You start documenting. You start observing. You start trusting repeated patterns more than pretty words. That is when the manipulator begins losing control over your nervous system. Because the moment you stop reacting exactly how they expect, everything changes. Gaslighters survive on emotional access. They need your confusion, your panic, your self-doubt. But when your face goes calm and your mind goes clear, their script starts collapsing in real time. And that is why awareness is your first weapon. Not revenge, not shouting, not winning the argument. Awareness. The second you can say, this is not confusion, this is manipulation, you take the first step out of the fog. And once you leave the fog, they lose power. So ask yourself honestly, who in your life makes you feel confused after simple conversations? Who makes you explain your pain instead of addressing it? Who makes you doubt your memory, your tone, your intent, your instincts? That person may not be misunderstood. They may be dangerous. Comment below, which gaslighting tactic hit you the hardest? Denial, guilt, twisted intentions, false consensus, fake kindness, or changing rules? I want to know which one you have actually lived through, because your comment might expose a pattern someone else is still trapped inside right now. And if this opened your eyes, subscribe now, because most channels give advice. But here, we expose the hidden games people use against your mind. The next video will go even deeper into psychological control, silent dominance, and the behaviors that reveal dangerous people before they can damage you.